Alright, good morning YouTube. This will be like attempt number 26. I had 25 attempts to make a video this morning, and my GoPro kept shutting off after 8 seconds. So I went in, did a quick Google search, reformatted it, and now I'm at 17 seconds. I think we got it nailed. So today I am going to make a stand for my leg vise. I keep moving it out to the welding table, clamping it on with a C-clamp, and bringing it back in when it starts to rain and everything. So I'm just going to make a stand for it. We'll put it here underneath the overhang someplace. We'll figure it out. And that's it. I've got some black iron pipe, some 2-inch for the legs. I've got a 8-inch piece of pipe for the upright. I have some plate, some other little miscellaneous things, some pieces of pipe. We'll see what we can do for making this work. Stay tuned. We'll be back after these messages. So I have some 2-inch schedule 40 pipe. I'm going to cut the ends off at 30 degrees so they'll come together in a triangle. I'll leave the other end alone. About 20 inches long on these. Here they are cut, and I'm laying it out. My pipe I'm going to be putting in the middle of them is about 6.5 inch. It's a weld casing. It's a liner for a weld casing. So I'm just going to tack these together just enough to see if they'll fit up with the weld casing, so I'll be able to have some room to weld around the outside edge of that casing. I'm kind of stealing this design or borrowing it or using the design from Mark Asbury's book, but I'm not putting a plate on the top of these. I'm just going to weld my pipe straight to these. I don't have a lot of plate laying around. I did have a piece that I can use for the top, but I didn't want to waste another piece for the bottom. I didn't feel it was necessary. So here I'm testing it up to see that I have enough space around the outside edges that I can, get a good weld. I want to be able to weld along there on the 3 sides, which should be enough to hold it in place. There's not a lot of torque going on. It's just a vise. Maybe if it was my ANVIL, I'd weld a plate and so I can get a full weld all the way around. So here I'm tacking it. Let's get a double check. Actually, I might be welding it here. Nope, just tacks. So I'm tacking it in place. Now I'm going to full welds what I can around the edge. I used to be a welder. You can't tell by looking at my welds. But I did not fish mouth the legs. I just kind of filled them in. I guess I skipped the part where I weld those legs together, but they are welded. And then I'm welding that pipe on the top. So here I am. I've got my plate on the top. I'm just kind of fitting it up to see where my holes will go, where everything's going to line up. I wanted to check. I did have 2 of these plates. I wanted to see if one of them was more square than the other. But they're both drops that I picked up at the steel yard. So I set it up there, lined it up, marked my holes, and this is me drilling the 3rd hole in the plate. I didn't really feel I should waste all your time letting you watch me drill holes. You've seen people drill holes. So here I am just bolting the plate to the vise. So that way I can fit it up and mark where I need to have my leg hole. Actually, I'm fitting it up and then I'm going to weld these bolts in. So I've been basically just C-clamping this vise to the corner of the table whenever I need it and then moving it back in. It's actually started raining, so I'm standing out here in the rain. But, I have to move the vise in out of the rain every time it starts to rain. So this will allow me to have a stand where it's bolted in under the overhang that I built. And won't require me to move it in and out every time it starts to rain and get everything going. So here I am. I've got the vise bolted to the plate, and it's just kind of propped up here so I could get some welds on the bolts, on the heads of the bolts. The farthest one to the center does end up being right over the hole or right inside that pipe. The other two fall on the outside of the pipe diameter, so I would be able to get by without welding them on, but I figured it's a lot easier to weld them in place, not have to worry about them falling out and losing them. So with it welded in place, I kind of set it on top, mark on the leg where I want my hole to be, fire up the torch, and cut a hole in the leg that will fit the post. My post is actually, the weld casing is actually a little bit short, not too bad. It makes the table kick out a little bit on the far side, so it's kind of sloped. I just welded it in at the angle. It's maybe 3/16 of an inch on the 6.5 inch diameter of the pipe. I just filled the gap, tightened it down, welded it down. So here's me just putting a final weld. I didn't weld all the way around the pipe. Again, I don't think I'm going to be beating on. I haven't really beat on it too much on the vise. I'm sure there'll be times when I have to. But so these are some spacers. I had a spring harrow. You can see some stuff in the background where I pulled all the springs off of it. They're flat springs. So what I'm going to do is weld these. There's square washers basically that held the flat springs onto the bars for the harrow. I'm going to weld these out on the ends just to get some foot pads to allow it to have 3 points of contact instead of 3 long points of contact. So this will help it to be a little bit more stable. I really don't have any flat spots out here. I built that overhang, filled it up with, put about 4 inches of road base in there, 1/2 inch road base, and it's back down rather nice. And it's raining pretty good, so I'm going to move this underneath the overhang to finish up. I had thrown the nuts on the top of the bolts when I was flipping it over, so that way I didn't bugger up the threads. Just pull them off. I'm going to carry it underneath the overhang to put it together, so that way I'm out of the rain, because it started actually raining pretty good. And there's a few more minutes, or it looks like about maybe another 30 seconds left. Please like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, please put them below. I appreciate all my subscribers. And you guys have a great 2017. And there it is, finished with Champy Dog.